Welcome students. This is GATE training course on mechanics of materials. This is lecture 8, deflection of beams. Deflection of beams. Say beam deflects from its initial position under action of applied forces. So when you apply a lateral loading to a beam, so normally beam is considered to be a horizontal member, and if you apply vertical load, it deflects. So that we call it as the deflection of beams. Right? Calculation of deflection is important. Let me say why it is important. So first point, to prevent cracking of attached brittle materials. Say in a beam there may be some materials attached to it. Say if you are attaching what you can say glass roofing over a beam. So then if the beam deflects too much, then what happens? That brittle material, that glass material will get broken and it will undergo cracking. So that is one case. Say similarly you will be having different brittle materials, not only glass, that may be attached to it, so it will fail. So we want to find the deflection before attaching any brittle material to it. The second is severe deformation may affect functionality. Say every engineer should remember the fact that just a fracture and breakage of the material doesn't mean it does not mean that it is failure, right? It is not the only way to get failure. Say example, if I am having a beam and there should be some clearance between another member, another member, say if it is an wall of a turbine, right? So it is more or less like a beam, and if the wall deforms and if it touches the turbine which is rotating, so it affects the functionality, right? So the beam touches the moving member, so now the moving member will not be able to rotate, so as a result the function is disturbed, so it fails. So if the function is not performed, then it is failure. So severe deformation may affect functionality. So if the function is not performed, then it is failure. So we must calculate the deformation before designing. To help analyzing statically indeterminate structures. Say there are structures, say in case of a beam, if both ends are fixed, we call it as an indeterminate beam. That is, we only have three equations, that is force equation and bending moment equation, right? But there may be three unknowns, that is that may be the two reactions as well as that is two vertical reactions at the support, as well as since both the supports are fixed supports, it will also provide reaction couple. So four unknowns are there. We may be having only three equations, so we call that as indeterminate case. So for finding that, you may be in requirement of finding the deflection to solve those problems. Information on deformation characteristics is essential in the study of vibration. So if you understand the deformation characteristics of a beam, then only you can study the vibration. So for all these reasons, calculating deflection is very, very important. So let's see what are the different methods available for finding the deflection. Say this is categorized into double integration method, geometrical method, and energy method. So double integration method, so it more or less circles around the formula, that is bending moment formula, and then it is double integrated to get the required deflection equation. We will see that later in the next slide, proceeding slides. And geometrical method, it is about moment area and conjugate beam. So these are typical methods which revolves with the geometry of the object, right? And this is energy, it relates with the energy equation, energy balance equations like Castigliane's theorem and virtual work. So these are methods which revolve with energy balance. So let's see some of the basic equations of a beam. So now EI into d power 4 y by dx power 4, where y we call it as the deflection, so is equal to minus w, that is the external loading. Right. So the external loading is related with the differential equation by EI into d power 4 y by dx power 4, which is equal to minus w. So similarly, EI into d cube y by dx cube is equal to the shear force. So if we have already studied about the shear force and bending moment diagram, right? So EI into d cube y by dx cube is equal to the shear force, and EI into d square y by dx square is equal to mx, that is the bending moment with respect to the distance x from the support. So this is one of the important equation which we are going to use for finding the displacement y, and dy by dx is the theta, that is slope at any point on the deflected beam, and y is equal to delta is the deflection or displacement, where EI term we call it as the flexural rigidity of the beam, where E relates with its material property, that is Young's modulus, and I relates with the geometrical property, that is moment of inertia. So these are the basic equations of beam where we circle upon to find different things. Okay, let's see a method. I don't want to go in deep into the derivation part. So since already you might have been very well thorough with the derivation, but I want to put on an example. Say, let's see the double integration method for a cantilever beam with point load. So this is the schematic diagram. Say we have a fixed support here, and assume the length of the beam to be L, and we have a point load P at the free end, and the beam is assumed to be have deflected by a distance y, and the angle or the slope at any point on the beam is assumed to be theta. Okay. So now we have the moment at any point, at any distance from the free end, right? We are taking that distance as x, as shown in the diagram. At any section xx, the bending moment mx is equal to force into perpendicular distance, that is p into x. So already I said EI into d square y by dx square is equal to mx, so which is px, right? So that is the negative moment. So now what we are doing is integrating both sides. We get, see, integrating the left hand side and on the right hand side with respect to what we get. Say EI d square y by dx square becomes dy by dx, which is equal to minus p into x becomes x square by 2 plus a constant a. So this is the integration constant a. So similarly, what we are doing is, this is a okay, what we are doing is, again we are integrating EI into integral dy. Okay, that is dy by dx as was there, so we have moved it to this side. So EI in the integral of dy is equal to integral of p into x square by 2 plus a, which was the previous equation. So again we are integrating it. So EI into dy becomes y. So again this becomes x cube by 3, that is x cube by 3 into 2 is 6, right, plus ax plus b. Okay, so you have to remember that there was a negative sign there. Since it is negative moment, so we had a negative sign there, so the negative sign was there. Now we want to apply the boundary condition, that is at x is equal to L, that is at the free end, that is at the fixed support. We know that y is equal to 0, that is there is no deflection at all, As well, at x is equal to L, there is no slope. See here, when x is equal to L, here there is no deflection, as well as the slope is 0. Okay, we are applying that condition to these equations 1 and 2. So when we are applying dy by dx is equal to 0 at x is equal to L, we will be getting the value of a. See here, this is equation number 1. I am substituting x is equal to L and equating to 0. So it becomes minus PL square by 2 plus a is equal to 0, which means a is equal to PL square by 2. And similarly, what I am doing is I am substituting the boundary condition in the equation number 2, that is EIY in the minus px cube by 6 plus ax plus b. So here you know that a is equal to PL square by 2. I have substituted the value of a plus b, right, is equal to 0. So I have substituted the value, so I will be getting the answer as b is equal to PL cube by 3. Okay, so now I can very well say that ei into y is equal to minus px cube by 6 plus, that is, this is a term ax plus, and this is b term, right. So this is the y equation. When I move ei to the right hand side, so this becomes, this is the e equation, the y equation, right, that is the deflection at any point starting from the free end. So with respect to x, if you just substitute the value of x and p, you can get the value of deflection. And let us find the value of y max. So the maximum deflection will be, there when you get x is equal to 0, right. So the maximum deflection equation will be like this, that is, this term will become 0 and this term will become 0. You will be getting PL cube by 3ei, right. So actually this is wrong. Actually this is wrong. So this is 0. This is 0, and again this is wrong. This is 0. Okay, so there was a mistake. So these two terms gets cancelled. So only thing remaining is minus PL cube by 3ei. We normally take the magnitude value, so we can say it is PL cube by 3ei. Similarly, if you substitute let us x is equal to 0 in the dy by dx equation, that is the equation which we have derived here. Okay, so in the dy by dx equation, we know that dy by dx is theta. So when you substitute x is equal to 0 there, you will be getting the maximum value of theta as PL square by 2ei. Okay, so these are the derivation of cantilever beam with a point load by using double integration method. So with this method you can find the theta and deflection at any point. So these are some of the relations for different loading of a beam, which is derived by double integration method or any other method. So these are the equations. So just I have put it upon your screen. So this is for simply supported beam. In the same manner we can find it for different kind of loading. Remembering these formulas is really tedious, because there are different kind of loading and different kind of beam, so you want to find the right combination. So it is much easier to study the basic loading and basic equation, and then if you try to merge both, then it will be easier. See here, so we have principle of superposition, that is, deformations of beams subjected to combinations of loadings may be obtained as a linear combination of the deformation from the individual loadings. That is, if you have 2 or 3 loads combined in a single beam, so instead of deriving an equation for combined loading, what we can do is you can use the equations individually. That is, you can calculate the deflection for loading 1, loading 2 and loading 3 if you have 3 loads, and then you can add upon the deflections including the sign, right? So it is not just adding the magnitude, that is, you have to add it along with the direction. So then you will be getting the final answer. So instead of deriving, you can have the basic formulas and then you can solve it. See here, so assume we have loading conditions like this: a cantilever beam, and towards the free end, that is to a distance of L/2, we have an uniformly distributed load. So finding a formula for this may be difficult. In that case, what we can do is we can have a formula for a beam loaded throughout by UDL. So that may be easier. So along with that, what we can do is we can add another loading condition which is loaded in the opposite direction for the first half length, right? So this first half loading in the opposite direction cancel out the first half of loading in the previous case, right? So it becomes, when you add these two, it becomes this kind of loading. So you will be getting this final displacement by adding the displacement of this one plus this one. So this is principle of superposition. By using this method, you can easily find the deflection at various points without remembering or without deriving so many formulas, right? So these are my references, and thank you all.